Hey there, folks. Gather round, pull up a comfy chair. Let old Grandpa tell you a little something about smarts and how things ain't always what they seem. You ever meet someone who folks just wrote off? Thought they were a little slow on the uptake? Well, sometimes those are the very folks with a sneaky kind of wisdom, the kind that can surprise you something fierce. Let me spin you a yarn about a clever minister and what folks thought about his boy. The king's opinion. Now, in this kingdom, there was a minister who was sharper than a tack. King relied on him for just about everything. Had a real knack for solving problems, that fella did. Couldn't make a big decision without getting his 2 cents in. But you know how it goes, right? When someone's shining bright, there's always going to be a few folks in the shadows, green with envy. And in the king's court, those jealous types were whispering about the minister something fierce. One sunny morning, the king calls the minister in. Says, "You're a smart cookie, no doubt about it. But that boy of yours, well, bless his heart, he ain't got a lick of sense." The minister, naturally, his ears perked up at that. "Your Majesty," he asked, respectful-like, "what makes you say that? What's got you thinking my son's foolish?" The king chuckled, a bit condescendingly. "Every darn morning when I go down to meet with the people in the marketplace, there's your boy, and every single day I ask him the same question. What's worth more, son, gold or silver? And you know what that boy says? Silver. Every time, silver." Well, you can imagine the scene. All those fancy folks in the court, they started snickering and pointing. The minister, his heart kind of sunk. Without a word, he just bowed and headed straight home, a worried frown creasing his brow. The father's question. He found his son and didn't beat around the bush. "Son," he said, "tell me true, which of the two metals is more valuable, gold or silver?" Quick as a wink, the boy replied, "Gold, Pa. Everyone knows that." The minister, he was puzzled. "Then in tarnation," he asked, scratching his head, "why do you keep telling the king that silver is worth more?" The boy, he just shrugged a little. "Well, Pa," he said, "every morning the king comes by when I'm near the market. He calls me over, holds out 2 shiny coins, one gold, one silver, and asks me to pick the one that's worth more. Every time, I pick the silver one." The minister's brow furrowed deeper. "But why, son? Why pick the silver when you know the gold's more valuable? The whole court was laughing at me today because of it."
The son's wisdom. Hearing his father's distress, the son took his hand and led him to his room. He went over to a wooden chest and lifted the lid. And wouldn't you know it, that chest was overflowing with silver coins. The minister's jaw just about hit the floor. "Good heavens, boy, where in the world did you get all this silver?" The son grinned, a sly little glint in his eye. "These are all the coins the king's been giving me, Pa. You see, the day I finally give the king the right answer and pick the gold coin, he'll stop asking me the question, won't he? And then I'll stop getting a silver coin every single morning." He continued, "The king gets a kick out of it when I pick the silver and say it's more valuable. He laughs, doesn't think twice about it, and goes on his way. I figure, why lose out on a free silver coin every day for the sake of one gold coin?" Well, that just knocked the wind out of the minister. He stood there, looking at that pile of silver, then back at his son. A slow smile spread across his face. He felt a surge of pride he hadn't expected. He finally understood. Folks might call his son foolish, but the boy had a cleverness all his own, a kind of practical wisdom that a lot of those highfalutin court members probably couldn't grasp. The moral of the story. From that day on, whenever anyone would scoff and call his son simple-minded, the minister would just smile knowingly and let it slide. You know, friends, you see this in life all the time. Some folks make a big to-do about every little thing they accomplish, blow their own horn so loud you can hear it for miles. Then there are others who quietly go about doing great things without ever seeking the spotlight. If you know in your heart that what you're doing is right, if you've got a good reason for your actions, then it doesn't matter so much if folks don't understand or even call you foolish or crazy. The world has a funny way of labeling what it can't quite figure out. So keep that in mind, young'uns. Stay true to your own wisdom, even if it looks a little different to everyone else. And that's the tale for today, folks. If you enjoyed this little nugget of wisdom, why not give it a thumbs up? Subscribe if you like hearing more stories like this. Remember, be patient with yourselves, be grateful for what you have, and keep on moving forward in life. I'll catch you next time with another story. You take care now.